Hey, what's up? It's Brad with Be Real. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about something today, and it's something I'm working on in my life. And, that's kind of, I told you guys last week, that's kind of what I do is I just kind of inventory my life, see what's going on in my life, see what I'm trying to work on. And I've talked on this a little bit, but I'm going to go into this, and this whole podcast is going to be on gratitude. So if you want to do yourself a favor, you might not need it right now. It might not be something that's pressing on you right now, but I'm telling you, at some point in time, you will need something out of this podcast to help you with your quality of life, help you with your state of mind. So I want to talk to you about gratitude, and I want to talk to you about gratitude, and everybody's going to go, oh, snap. But gratitude at a time when it's real easy to be grateful when everything's going your way, right? So if everything's going your way, you're hitting every ball, getting on base every time. You wake up every morning. It's just this divine space that you're in. It's pretty easy to be grateful, even though there are people that have a lot going their way that still struggle with to be grateful. And I had two friends that were brothers, and they were uber nasty rich, right? One was just the most grateful, peace of mind, just at peace all the time. And the other one had the same amount of money as, never happy, never saw anything. All he ever saw was things that he wanted different in his life and all that. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. Gratitude and being grateful is something, and it's kind of like happiness. Happiness is not something that's guaranteed to us, nor is it given to us. Happiness is something that you have to cultivate, you have to create, you have to go get. Same thing with gratitude. It ain't going to be given to you. In fact, there are bad forces in the world that will try to keep you focused a lot on what you don't have, things that you're lacking in your life. So, part of the thing about gratitude too that just hit me. There's a saying in life that says, whatever you focus on manifests. So another reason that the gratitude is so important is when the human mind can only think of one thing at a time. So if it's thinking about all the crap you should be thankful for, then you don't have time to think of anything of the lack in your life. And everybody's got lack. So whatever you focus on manifests. And like I said, this is not one of these deals where I'm in this great space and I'm coming on here to tell everybody from the ivory tower no, bro. This is something that I am working on, struggling with, staying focused on. So I just want to share a few things with you just to think about it, just to help. What I read one time that gratitude is the greatest of all traits, and it could be like the parent or the conception of all traits. And I took my trusty notes here. It's one of the greatest of all traits and virtues. A virtue is a desirable quality or trait, like honesty, courage, love, peace. And where that derives from, believe it or not, is from gratitude. And I'll cover that more in a little bit with you about where the gratitude comes from and how it can make such a polar opposite in our lives. And I know you're starting to think, because I'm always telling you, look, generosity, gratitude, grace, grit, these soft skills, everybody's talented, right? Everybody has certain talents, but hard work beats talent. It's a famous saying, hard work beats talent. But when you add in these soft skills of generosity, gratitude, grace, grit into these talents, into these hard works, man, you're invincible. So that's why I want to talk about. And like I said, it's something you can take with you all the time. Let me just give you an example. So from my life, where things go, where I start to get anxious, or where things go that I start to slide in maybe not the best state of mind. Let me tell you where it comes from. It comes from the unknown. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know what this is going to happen. I'm not sure what this is. I'm not sure. So it's the unknown. And that's what ends up giving me anxiety. And I keep speeding it up and backing it up and playing it over and over and trying to come up with I ain't coming up with a solution. But what you can do, though, is slow down. And what you do know is all the things that are in your life now you can be grateful for. It's like home base. I don't know if you used to play tag when you were a kid. The tree was home base. So you can bring yourself back to home base, and home base is gratitude. And if you bring yourself back to gratitude and get focused on gratitude, then what ends up happening is the thing, because you know what you're grateful for. There are tangible things that are in your life, and we all have them. My wife and I were driving down the road the other night, and I was talking about something that I wish we had at the house or something like that. And just very calmly, she goes, "You do realize that a large part of people in Oklahoma wish they had everything that we had." And so it kind of put things into perspective for me. And it's all in how you look at it. She's better at looking at it than I am. Let me tell you some other things. Think of all the crap that's out there on social media, news, digital advertising, that they talk about enhancing your life, lengthening your life. Don't eat this, eat that, whatever. There's all these things. Stay away from sugar, stay away from meat, stay away from, red dyes, all this other stuff. But I'm going to tell you straight up, you can Google it when you're done listening to this deal. Google the enhancements of gratitude on your life. Literally, the Mayo Clinic did a research on this deal, and they said that grateful, happy, optimistic people live longer. So you can quit buying all the vitamins, you can quit buying all the snake oils and all the other crap. If you want to live longer and have a better quality of life, you know what you should do? Work on being grateful. And like I said, I'm speaking in kind of a straight to you format here, but it's not something that I'm good at. I'm way better at teaching this gig than I am living this gig. But it's proven, like I said, that optimistic, positive people live longer than other people do. Then a lot of us are in, I always tell everybody, I read one time in a book said the level of my happiness and the level of my success is totally contingent on the strength of my relationships. Well, I'm going to tell you straight up, grateful people have better relationships. Grateful people have longer relationships. You know why? Because people want to be around grateful people. People, yeah, there will be times when people will jump in your life and help you out when you're in an ungrateful state. But all in all, really and truthfully, people really lean toward, because everybody's got their struggles with the gratitude. I used to work for a large retailer, and I would observe things, and I would watch. There were certain groups of people that kind of hung out, and then there was other groups of people that hung out. You know what? The positive, thankful, impactful people all hung out together. They didn't hang out with the people that were bitching and complaining and everything's bad, everything's terrible, we're all going to die. By shifting your mind, and it's a battle, guys. It's a battle. I mean, all the advertising showing you things on social media you don't have. The neighbors have things you don't have. I've said this before in life. Everybody was sent to this earth with everything they need to achieve what they were sent here to achieve. I said that before. I firmly believe that deal. But you don't have everything you need. When you were born at the hospital, you didn't have all the tools you need. But what will happen is if you'll just keep taking steps forward, before you get to 90% of the time, oh, it makes me mad. 90% of the time, by the time you get to whatever you were fearful of or whatever you were worried about, or whatever's stressing you out, by the time you get there, the tool's already there that you need to do that. I can't tell you how many times I've left the house to go do something that was kind of stressing me out or whatever, and I get there and I call my wife and she goes, you're having fun, right? It's not as bad as you thought it was going to be. No, it's not. And so what I need to really do is we can control our minds. I've told you guys that before. Our internal dialogue is 2,500 words a minute, and we can control what the hell we're telling ourselves. Nobody talks to us more than we do. And so when you catch yourself sliding off the path into this state of ungrateful, pull yourself back, force yourself to write it down. I did that one night. I did that for a period of time. I was in a tough part of my life. And I know everybody has heard this a million times, and everybody's like, oh, that's cheesy, Brad. I'm not doing that. Well, I did it because I was desperate, bro. So what I did was I put a list of things I was grateful for, and I read them before I went and turned my light off at night and put them on the nightstand. And then every morning I picked them up before my feet hit the floor, because I felt like I was getting attacked by the world when my feet hit the floor. I'd read that list of gratitude. And I'm telling you what, when my feet hit the floor, I was better equipped to handle my day. Also, that there are, without going to gloom and doom on this deal, there are also negative impacts on your life if you ignore the gratitude and being grateful. So this is a Brad deal again. I feel like that human beings are one of the few, if not the only animals on earth with a memory that has the ability to replay things in the past and be able to kind of envision things in the future. I personally don't think that we were given this amazing tool so that we can replay our lives and beat ourselves up for the crap we screwed up, or look ahead and worry about things that we don't have or we haven't had yet. So we have this so that we can push ourselves into thinking in a grateful state of mind. Um, uh, the other thing that I was telling you too is this is not just something for you, or for you as an individual. Gratitude is something that it transforms operations. It let me tell you, it transforms families. It transforms business. When you're a leader and all you're doing is walk around all day encouraging people and thanking people for things that they did, you know what ends up happening? They do more of the things that you wish that they would do. I'll tell you, probably I didn't get this cleared from the wife, but I'll tell you something that was something we struggled with early in our marriage was, we had a tendency of kind of keeping score, and we had a tendency of kind of picking out what the other person wasn't doing, right? Which nobody's going to do everything right. So would have a tendency of sitting around kind of got that gotcha deal, gotcha deal, gotcha deal. Oh, you didn't do this, so you didn't put the glass in the dishwasher. I mean, all that petty crap, you can't even remember what the heck it is, right? And we made a conscious effort. We said, no, we're not going to do that deal. What we're going to do is we're going to try to outgive each other. Instead of worrying about what the other one's doing, I'm just going to focus on being grateful for everything that she is, being grateful for everything that she does. And whatever I was doing yesterday, I'm going to do more of it today than what it was. Well, what that caused me to do is, when you're grateful and you're helping other people, that's why not every day I come to this podcast am I in the greatest state of mind. But I can tell you guys this: when I leave that door over there after doing this podcast, I'm better, because I feel like maybe I've lifted a few people up, and in the process, I'm lifting people. Me lifting people up, I'm lifted too. But I'm telling you, it is very difficult to do all these things without this state of gratitude. I was reminded one time, actually yesterday. It's funny because they didn't know I was going to do this, but somebody posted on social media about one of my meetings. I don't even know when the meeting was. And what the deal was, maybe you guys have heard this before, is what if we woke up today? Check this out. What if we woke up today and only thing that was in our lives today was the things that we were grateful for yesterday? If we woke up this morning, and so like if yesterday we weren't thankful for our car, we weren't thankful for our house, we weren't thankful for our kids, we weren't thankful for our significant other, we didn't take time to be thankful and to cultivate this deal, and we woke up this morning and only had what we were thankful for yesterday, we'd all have probably a pretty bleak go of this deal, right? So that is why this, but I'm telling you, it transforms you, it transforms families. Um, um, and it also gets other people. If you, I heard one time that people will only hear or remember about 20% of what you say, but they'll remember 80% of your actions for the rest of their lives. Now think about that. So if you want to cultivate a culture of gratitude, then guess what? Be the person that does it. Be the person that goes around. And like I said, I know I'm making this sound oversimplifying this deal, but it literally is that simple. You choose what you look at. You choose what you're grateful for. Here's I'll kind of wrap this up. It's a little bit longer ending of this deal, but I kind of had this as I was talking about this and thinking about this with other people. Think about this as gratitude is this center of your life. And what ends up happening is, if you have envy, if you have anxiety, if you have worries, normally that comes from an ungrateful state of mind. Like you can't have envy and gratitude. You can only have one thing at a time. You can't have anxiety because your butt is listening, your butt is thinking nonstop about what you're thankful for. Thankful and gratitude does not bring anxiety and the lack of your life. You can't have lack when you're talking about when you have a state of gratitude. Now check this deal out. Think about celebrating a success. Well, you can't celebrate a success unless you acknowledge that that success happened. And in a way, that is gratitude. Like you can't really love somebody unless you acknowledge what a great person and you're thankful for who that person is. You can't have true happiness in your life. Everybody wants to be happier. Everybody wants all these other things. But I'm telling you, this is just a simple deal, man. You cannot have happiness in your life without being grateful for what it is you're happy. So the peace, the love, the joy, the happiness, it all is derived from the place of gratitude. And so when you catch yourself off center on the deal, bring yourself back to the middle and think about that. So I'll wrap this deal up. Look, if you, I hope somebody out there is listening. If you want to go through your day and have a higher quality of life, be more grateful. If you literally are concerned and you want to live a full life, be more grateful. If you're thinking, man, what could I do to be a better parent? You know what you can do to be a better parent is stop seeing all the things that are wrong in your house and start telling your kids and your wife what you're thankful for and thanking them for all that they do. If you want to be a better leader, it is so easy. I told you guys that before, that the human mind remembers failure 4 times longer than they do success. So I'm pretty sure the people you work with remembered that they screwed up yesterday. They don't got to be reminded what they screwed up yesterday. And so that means it's about 3 or 4 times harder to make that list of those things that we're grateful for. But I'm telling you, I read this book one time. It was kind of a new concept in parenting. And basically what it was talking about what these parents tried to do is that all they did was, if a child did something right, they just said, hey, good job, thank you. Hey, good job, thank you. Hey, good job, thank you. If they did something they shouldn't be doing, they didn't even say anything to them. I mean, unless it was something like horrific. So, you know what I'm saying? Anyway. But what they started doing is, hey, great job, thank you. Hey, great job, thank you. Same thing with wife. Hey, great job, thank you. Hey, great job, thank you. Next thing they noticed is the behaviors that they were not wanting to see anymore, they stopped. Because they got used to liking and enjoying these encouraging words and words of affirmation. I'm telling you, there's a large majority of people that their love language is affirmation. When I was going through some of the things I was going through, my sponsor, one of the biggest things he said is, that's great. Where are you on this list? Where are you? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, where are you on forgiving yourself? Where are you on thanking yourself? Where are you when you realizing that you should be thankful for you? Where are you on the list? So it all comes from this. A lot of you guys that are watching this podcast are leaders in your lives, leaders in your house. And I'm just telling you, a huge key. And dude, I keep using that word invincible. Dude, when you have a mind of a grateful mind, I promise you guys, you're absolutely unstoppable. Nobody can stop gratitude. Go have a great day and be real.